The galaxies stretched across the stars, home to countless species and civilizations, each with its own powerful history and dominance. Some of the oldest races in the universe had long since mastered technology that could shatter worlds, while others commanded vast fleets capable of sweeping entire star systems off the map. For most of these species, the galaxy was a place of power, where the strongest thrived and the weakest disappeared into the void. Amid this vast network of powerful empires and advanced beings lay a tiny, insignificant world, Earth, a planet that many have forgotten, a planet whose humans were dismissed as nothing more than a curiosity, weak, primitive, and unworthy of attention. To the galactic powers, humanity was a joke. They had no grand fleets, no ancient histories of empire building, no complex technologies to rival those of the great species. Earth was nothing. The humans, nothing. For centuries, they had been overlooked, their planet ignored in the grand scheme of things. Yet deep within the hearts of Earth's people, there had always been something more. An untold story, buried beneath the layers of time, waiting to be uncovered. The Alien Council, the governing body of the galaxy's most influential species, had just declared peace. After centuries of brutal wars and conflicts, the galaxy had finally settled into a fragile calm. The major empires had signed ceasefires, their armies were disbanding, and the battle-hardened fleets began to disband. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy could breathe easy. The celebrations were loud, with alien species across the galaxy enjoying the newfound peace. The powerful celebrated their victory, and the lesser-known species, including Earth, were forgotten once more. In one of the grandest chambers of the Galactic Council, the ambassadors of the major empires gathered. The humans were a distant thought, so irrelevant that their very name hardly passed through the conversations. A few laughed at the very idea of humanity being capable of anything of significance. One ambassador, a towering figure from the Praktho Dominion, scoffed loudly, his voice echoing through the room. Humans? They are nothing more than an insignificant species on a backwater world. Their planet has barely scratched the surface of space. I highly doubt they even have the means to defend themselves. The council members chuckled. The thought of Earth posing any real threat to the galaxy's delicate balance was laughable. Even the peaceful races, those who had long abandoned military conquest, shared in the ridicule. Earth's future is irrelevant. It is nothing but a curiosity. Another ambassador from the Zaxorian League said, his tone dripping with contempt. The mocking continued for a while as the council went on to discuss more important matters. But something strange happened while they spoke. On Earth, an unexpected discovery was made, one that would set events into motion that would forever change the galaxy. A deep space probe, sent by an independent human faction to explore an ancient part of the solar system, had uncovered something, an artifact, buried beneath the icy crust of one of the moons of Saturn. It wasn't just any artifact. It was a piece of technology unlike anything humans had ever encountered, older than any civilization they knew. This wasn't some relic from Earth's past. No, this was something far more ancient, something that suggested humanity had a deeper connection to the galaxy than anyone could have ever imagined. As scientists back on Earth scrambled to study the artifact, a message was transmitted to the Galactic Council. It was brief, and it was received with utter disbelief. The message contained coordinates that led to a place deep in space, a location far beyond where any human vessel had ever traveled. The message didn't say much, but what it did say was enough to spark interest. We are not what you think we are. Our true history lies hidden. Come to us, or we will come to you. The tone was not a plea for help. It was not a desperate cry from a species on the brink of extinction. No, it was a challenge that stirred something deep within the council. What did this message mean? What could this ancient artifact possibly have to do with Earth's past? And why had humanity kept it hidden for so long? The council fell silent as the news spread across the galaxy. The laughing stopped. Alien leaders from every corner of the galaxy began to ask themselves the same question. What if humans weren't as weak as they had thought? What if the truth of their origins, hidden for centuries, was far more powerful than anyone could have imagined? As the council deliberated, the discovery on Earth sparked chaos in the distant corners of the galaxy. Some species feared the implications of this message. What if humanity had once been part of something much greater than anyone could imagine? What if they were more dangerous than they had ever realized? For the first time in centuries, Earth was no longer the forgotten backwater of the galaxy. Humanity had just revealed a secret that could rewrite the history of the entire universe. The question now wasn't whether the humans could change the galaxy. It was how the galaxy would respond to the truth of humanity's existence. The mocking had stopped, but something far more terrifying had begun. The galaxy buzzed with nervous anticipation. The discovery on Earth had shaken the foundations of the galactic order, and the once dismissed humans were now at the center of it all. For centuries, the galaxy had assumed that Earth was nothing more than a primitive world, incapable of influencing the vast, interconnected universe. But the message and the mysterious artifact uncovered from the depths of the solar system made it clear that they had been gravely mistaken. As the alien leaders debated the implications of the artifact's discovery, whispers of a forgotten history began to spread. Could humanity truly have been a part of something far more significant than anyone could have imagined? A small faction of alien scholars, who had long studied ancient records and galactic myths, began to speculate. There were rumors of a race that once thrived in the galaxy, a civilization that wielded unimaginable power. They had disappeared long ago, their legacy wiped from the records, but their influence was still felt. Some believed this ancient race was humanity's true origin. Others were more skeptical, dismissing the notion as a mere fantasy. But in the deepest corners of the galaxy, there were some who saw this discovery as a signal. Humanity was not just a minor player in the galaxy. They had the potential to be a force that could rival even the oldest and most powerful civilizations. On Earth, the reaction to the artifact's discovery was a mix of fear, awe, and uncertainty. The artifact itself was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Its technology was beyond their comprehension. It contained elements of energy manipulation, unknown alloys, and complex designs that no human engineer could replicate. As the top scientists on Earth scrambled to decode its secrets, the political leaders began to realize the potential consequences of revealing this power to the galaxy. In secret, world leaders began to convene. They knew they could not keep the discovery hidden forever. If the Galactic Council and other species learned of humanity's true history, they would undoubtedly come to Earth, perhaps to exploit the knowledge, or worse, to attempt to control or destroy humanity. But there were those among the leaders who saw the potential for something more. The President of the United Earth Government, Ellen Roberts, stood before a gathering of global advisors, military leaders, and scientists. The tension in the room was palpable. They had to make a decision. Would they share the discovery with the galaxy, or would they prepare to defend themselves? "I know what you're all thinking," President Roberts began, her voice steady yet filled with urgency. "The artifact is powerful, and we don't fully understand what it means. But if the galaxy finds out what we've uncovered, it will change everything. The peace we fought for could collapse. The fragile balance of power could shatter. We need to be ready for whatever comes next." General Marcus Hale, the commander of Earth's global defense forces, stood up, his face etched with worry. "Madam President, we can't ignore the possibility that the galaxy will see us as a threat. The alien civilizations have always viewed us as weak. What if they decide to come here to take control of this technology? We need to prepare for war." President Roberts nodded gravely. "I agree, General. But at the same time, we cannot afford to hide in fear. If humanity has been part of something bigger, something older, we must understand it. We must harness this power before others do." In the meantime, across the galaxy, the various alien factions were grappling with the same question. The discovery on Earth was a game changer, but how would they respond? Some, like the Praktho Dominion, saw this as an opportunity to dominate the humans and seize the ancient technology for themselves. Others, like the Zaxorian League, were more cautious, unsure whether humanity's newfound strength was a blessing or a curse. The council met once again, this time with a sense of urgency. Ambassador Vixer of the Drassic Confederacy, known for his sharp mind and calculating demeanor, spoke first. We cannot allow Earth to remain ignorant of the galaxy's history. The artifact they have discovered is a key to unlocking powers that could shift the entire balance of the galaxy. We must act swiftly before humanity gains more insight into its own potential. Ambassador Thelna of the Zaxorian League, however, raised a cautionary voice. We must be careful. We don't know the full extent of what humanity is capable of. What if this artifact is not just a tool, but a weapon? What if it has the power to destroy entire fleets with a single command? The debate raged on, but one thing was clear. Humanity had unknowingly entered the arena of the galaxy's most powerful players, and the stakes were higher than ever. Back on Earth, the situation was no less tense. As the first results of the artifact study came in, a startling discovery was made. Embedded within the alien technology was a star map, one that pointed to a location deep in the galactic core, a place where no species had ever dared to venture. And it was here, hidden in the far reaches of the galaxy, that the key to understanding humanity's true origins lay. The decision was made. Earth's government would send a fleet to the coordinates hidden in the artifact to uncover the truth about humanity's ancient past. It was a bold move, one that could either secure Earth's place in the galaxy or lead to its downfall. But humanity had no choice but to proceed. The quiet, peaceful existence that Earth had known for centuries was now shattered. The galaxy's greatest powers had begun to take notice of the humans they had once dismissed, and the hunt for the truth of humanity's origins was about to begin. The countdown had started, and there was no turning back. As Earth prepared to launch its exploratory fleet toward the mysterious coordinates embedded within the artifact, the galaxy was bracing for an unprecedented shift. In every corner of the known universe, alien factions were reeling from the discovery of humanity's ancient connection to forgotten powers. The whispers of Earth's potential were spreading like wildfire. Some saw it as a golden opportunity, others feared it as a harbinger of doom. But one thing was certain: humanity's time had come. The fleet of Earth ships was being assembled in secret. On the surface, everything seemed normal. The cities were bustling with daily life. Governments were carrying on with routine matters, and people went about their business. But below the surface, behind closed doors, the leaders of the United Earth government were preparing for a mission that could change the fate of the entire galaxy. President Ellen Roberts watched as the first wave of ships made their way out of Earth's atmosphere. They were not just vessels of exploration. They were symbols of humanity's new role in galactic politics. Their mission was clear: to reach the coordinates, uncover the ancient secrets hidden in the galactic core, and find out why Earth had been left in the dark for so long. General Marcus Hale stood beside the President in the command center, his face a mask of determination. "Madam President, we have eyes on the fleet's departure. The first phase of the mission is underway. But I must remind you, this is dangerous territory. We don't know what's waiting for us out there. The galaxy is not a place for the unprepared." President Roberts nodded, her gaze fixed on the holographic display of the fleet's progress. "I know, General, but humanity has always been capable of surprising others. We've survived far worse, and now we have a chance to discover who we really are. This mission must succeed for the future of Earth and the galaxy." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the alien factions were observing humanity's actions with growing concern. The Praktho Dominion, always eager to expand its empire, saw the potential of Earth's newfound power. They believed that controlling humanity would give them the edge they needed to dominate the galaxy once and for all. Their leader, Emperor Varric, had already begun to strategize, sending emissaries to key systems to prepare for Earth's inevitable rise. "We cannot let them go unchallenged," Varric growled as he stood before his war council. This discovery on Earth is a threat to everything we've built. If humanity truly has access to the power of the ancients, we cannot allow them to keep it. Prepare the fleet. We're going to Earth. The Zaxorian League, on the other hand, was more cautious. Ambassador Thelma, who had previously warned the Galactic Council about the dangers of underestimating humanity, gathered with her fellow leaders in a high-security chamber. We must tread carefully, she advised. Earth is unpredictable. We do not yet know what this ancient power truly is. They could turn on us at any moment. Despite her caution, there was a growing understanding that Earth's role in the galaxy could no longer be ignored. Even the neutral species, such as the Archon Consortium, who preferred to avoid conflicts and stay out of galactic politics, began to take notice. Everyone knew that Earth's rise would change the power dynamics in ways no one could fully comprehend. Back on Earth, the first ships had reached the edge of the galaxy's core. The crew of the flagship, Endurance, stood at the ready. Captain Sarah Mitchell, a seasoned leader with a sharp mind and a calm demeanor, prepared her crew for the unknown. "We've made it this far," she said to her crew, who were gathered in the briefing room. "But what lies ahead is unlike anything we've encountered before. We are not just exploring new worlds. We are uncovering the lost history of our people. Stay focused, stay alert, and remember, this mission is bigger than any of us." As the fleet ventured deeper into the uncharted regions, they encountered phenomena that no human had ever witnessed. Vast nebulae, strange gravitational anomalies, and unexplainable bursts of energy. The closer they got to the coordinates, the more unstable the area became. It was as though the very fabric of space was reacting to their presence. "We're entering unknown space," reported Lieutenant Alex Ramirez, the ship's chief navigator. "The gravity wells here are unlike anything we've ever studied. It's as if something is pulling us in." "What is it?" Captain Mitchell asked, her voice steady. "We don't know yet," Captain Ramirez replied. "But we'll find out soon enough." As the fleet continued its journey, they reached a star system that was not on any known map. It was surrounded by a field of dense debris, broken ships, twisted metal, and strange artifacts scattered across the void. In the center of the system lay a massive ancient structure, one that had been hidden for millennia. Its design was unlike anything Earth had ever seen, with intricate geometric patterns and a shimmering surface that seemed to pulse with energy. "This is it," Captain Mitchell said, her voice barely a whisper. "This is what we've been searching for." The crew of the Endurance moved quickly, preparing to land on the surface of the ancient structure. But they were not alone. Unbeknownst to them, a fleet of Praktho warships had arrived, drawn by the same signal that had led humanity here. As the Earth fleet began its descent, they realized they were not the only ones who had discovered this ancient power. The galaxy was watching, and the race to uncover the secrets of humanity's origins had begun. The battle for control of Earth's destiny was about to unfold. The tension in the galaxy had reached a boiling point. Humanity's fleets, once mocked and underestimated, were now at the center of a galactic conflict that no one could have predicted. As the Endurance and its sister ships prepared to land on the ancient structure, the Praktho fleet loomed ominously in the background, their warships dark and foreboding in the black expanse of space. Captain Sarah Mitchell stood at the bridge of the Endurance, gazing at the immense structure below. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, vast, towering, and etched with symbols that pulsed with an eerie, unspoken energy. The artifacts they had discovered earlier had pointed to its existence, but now they were face to face with its terrifying reality. "This is it," Mitchell said, her voice steady but filled with awe. "This is where it all began." Lieutenant Ramirez, who had been working tirelessly at his station, looked up, his face filled with concern. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's from the Praktho fleet. They're demanding we abandon the site and leave immediately. They claim it belongs to them." Mitchell's expression darkened. The Praktho had been pursuing power for centuries, And now, they were making their move to seize whatever ancient force lay hidden on Earth's doorstep. "We're not going anywhere," she said firmly. "This is our discovery, and we're going to claim it. Prepare for landing." The tension was palpable as the Endurance and the other Earth ships descended toward the surface of the ancient structure. The Prevails fleet lingered just beyond the reach of Earth's forces, their warships primed and ready to strike at a moment's notice. But as the Earth fleet touched down, something remarkable happened. The ancient structure, an enormous, living monument that seemed to defy all logic, began to react to their presence. The symbols on its surface lit up, glowing with an otherworldly light. The structure hummed with energy, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. "This is beyond anything we imagined," said Dr. Emily Cruz, the chief scientist aboard the Endurance. She had spent years studying the ancient artifact, but this was something else entirely. "It's like the building is alive. It's responding to us." The team disembarked, their boots crunching against the dusty surface of the structure. The landscape around them was barren, but the enormity of the structure overshadowed everything else. It seemed as though it stretched infinitely, a towering monument to a forgotten past. "Stay close," Captain Mitchell ordered as they moved toward an entrance in the structure. The door, enormous and covered in ancient symbols, began to open on its own as they approached. There was no visible mechanism, just the sudden, silent movement of the colossal slabs of metal and stone. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with mystery. The walls were lined with strange devices, their purpose unclear. Holographic images flickered across the air, depicting battles, ancient ships, and strange beings. This was no ordinary structure. It was a treasure trove of knowledge, but also a tomb filled with the ghosts of civilizations long lost. "We're walking into history," Dr. Cruz said softly as she activated her datapad. "This place could hold the answers to everything. Our origins, the truth behind Earth's role in the galaxy, maybe even the key to the power the Prevails are so desperate to claim." As they moved deeper into the structure, they came upon a vast chamber. At its center was an altar, ancient and weathered, yet somehow still intact. It was surrounded by towering statues, guardians of some long-forgotten civilization. On the altar lay an object, bathed in soft, pulsating light. Captain Mitchell stepped forward, her eyes widening as she saw the object. A strange, crystalline core, glowing with a faint otherworldly energy. The air around it seemed to hum, and a sense of profound power filled the chamber. This is it," Captain Mitchell whispered, her heart racing. "This is the source, the power the Prevails are after." As she reached for the crystal, the ground suddenly shook violently. The structure trembled, and the walls seemed to pulse with life. A voice, ancient and powerful, filled the air, a voice that resonated with the very core of their being. "You are not the first to seek the power of the ancients, but you will be the last." The voice was like a storm, overwhelming in its intensity. The crew stood frozen, their minds grappling with the enormity of what they were hearing. "What is this?" Captain Mitchell demanded, her hand still hovering over the crystal. "Who are you?" The voice replied, "We are the architects. We forged this power for a purpose, to shape the galaxy in our image. And now, you, the children of Earth, will decide whether it will be used for creation or destruction." The words sent a chill down their spines. The power they had uncovered was not just a force, it was a weapon, a creation born of ancient minds with a vision for the galaxy's future. The consequences of wielding this power were unimaginable. The decision before them was clear. They could claim this power and shake the galaxy as they saw fit, or they could destroy it to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. But just as the crew began to process the implications of their discovery, the Prevails fleet entered the system, their warships descending toward the structure. The time for decisions had come, and with it, a new battle for the fate of the galaxy. As the Earth fleet prepared for the imminent assault, Captain Mitchell turned to her crew. "We're not backing down. The galaxy thinks they know what humanity is capable of, but they have no idea. It's time to show them. The Praktho were not prepared for the fight that was coming. The ancient power of Earth, hidden for centuries, was about to rise once again. And this time, humanity would not be underestimated. The final battle had erupted in the void of space. The Praktho fleet, once certain of their dominance, now found themselves locked in a desperate fight against Earth's hidden might. The Endurance and the other ships of humanity's fleet had barely escaped the first wave of Praktho warships, but the ancient structure's power had given them an edge they were about to fully embrace. Captain Mitchell stood on the bridge of the Endurance, her expression grim but resolute. The battle raged outside, yet her focus was on the pulsating crystal they had discovered deep within the ancient structure. The mysterious voice of the architect still echoed in her mind, filling her with a sense of both awe and dread. Creation or destruction. Those were the stakes, and now, the galaxy would learn the true meaning of that choice. Captain, Lieutenant Ramirez called out urgently, his voice filled with anxiety. The Praktho fleet is advancing faster than we thought. They'll be on top of us in less than 30 minutes. We don't have much time. Mitchell didn't flinch. Her eyes were locked onto the ancient crystal, and she could feel its energy coursing through her, whispering secrets of untold power. Humanity had always been the underdog in this galaxy, dismissed and underestimated. But that was about to change forever. We have one shot, Mitchell said quietly, her voice firm. It's time we make them regret ever underestimating us. The Endurance and the remaining Earth ships pivoted, locking onto the Praktho warships with pinpoint precision. The crew had no illusions about the odds. They were outgunned, outnumbered, and surrounded. But the power of the crystal, the artifact they had uncovered, was something entirely different. It was no ordinary weapon. It was the key to humanity's potential, a hidden strength that had been designed long before they ever even realized it. Dr. Cruz, who had been studying the crystal's energy patterns since the first day they encountered it, rushed to the command deck. Captain, I've connected the crystal to the ship's systems. If we channel its energy through our main weapons array, we'll be able to fire a shot capable of disabling their fleet. But we'll need to focus everything we've got. Mitchell's heart raced. It was a dangerous plan. They had no idea how much power the crystal could generate. But if they didn't act fast, the Praktho would overwhelm them. Do it. We're all in. As Dr. Cruz worked feverishly at the controls, the Endurance surged forward, its massive guns aligning with the Praktho ships. But before they could fire, the Praktho fleet made their move, launching a barrage of devastating missiles that shook the Earth fleet to its core. Mitchell braced herself. The universe seemed to stand still as the incoming barrage loomed overhead, but just before the missiles could hit, a blinding light erupted from the Endurance. The energy from the crystal surged through the ship, forming a protective shield around the fleet, deflecting the missiles with a force that sent shockwaves across the battlefield. What just happened? Ramirez asked, his voice full of disbelief. The crystal, Dr. Cruz whispered, her face pale with astonishment. It's not just a weapon. It's a force of nature. Mitchell's lips curled into a grim smile. The Praktho had thought they were the masters of war, but they had forgotten one thing. Humans had a gift for survival. And when pushed to the brink, they would rise with a strength no one could predict. The Endurance fired its primary weapon, a beam of raw energy focused through the crystal's power, and the Praktho fleet faltered. The beam struck the flagship of the Praktho, sending it spiraling out of control, its massive hull cracking and breaking apart under the force. The Praktho fleet fell into disarray. What had once seemed like an invincible force was now struggling to maintain control. The remaining ships scattered, and the once dominant enemy was forced to retreat in chaos. The Earth fleet had won, but more than that, they had revealed something far more important. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as the Praktho retreated. The old power structures of the galaxy, those that had long overlooked humanity, were beginning to crumble. What the galaxy had failed to understand about Earth was that humanity's true strength wasn't in its weapons or fleets. It was in their resolve, their ability to adapt, and their will to fight against insurmountable odds.